Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. Wednesday Wisdom's sponsored by K12 SportsTech, along with our other great sponsors. And as always, we want to give them a shout out. So stay with us for the next 3 minutes. Listen to our shout outs, then listen to our Wednesday Wisdom guest, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. All right, here we go. We want to say thanks to K12 SportsTech, our primary Wednesday Wisdom sponsor. K12 SportsTech helps athletic directors and sport vendors connect through education and hands-on consulting services. Athletic directors are also invited to join the K12 SportsTech AD think tank and help influence how companies shape their tech to better serve athletic directors in schools. To get started, just go to K12SportsTech.com and get started. That's K12SportsTech.com. We also want to say thanks to our friends at Gipper. You know, your students are on social media, and if they're not seeing content that celebrates their accomplishments and promotes your program, you're missing out on a great opportunity. Go to Gipper.com. It's used and trusted by over 20,000 schools and programs. It's professional graphic design made easy. Whether it's a social media post to celebrate a victory or a weekly newsletter that, again, promotes your entire program, the team at Gipper will have you creating world-class content in seconds. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. Whether it's more support, more security, or more customization, the Hometown team will help you make the best online ticketing solution. Hometown Ticketing, it's digital ticketing that offers more. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the different events, or to show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and take a look at their interactive touch screen. That's right, touch screen video consoles. They're also a great way to showcase and tell your school's unique history and brag about your proudest moments. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast, vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to thank Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and then been disappointed in the results? Those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. It's hands down the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with great success. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it because it works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. Go to snapraise.com. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. You know, as a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our student athletes loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming, but there is so much more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. We'd like to say thank you to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's at Ohio University, but my assistant athletic director did, along with thousands of others. And it was a great experience. It's very reasonably priced, just 20 months, totally online. And while you're completing your master's degree, you're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. The website is ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Masters. We'd like to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. You can schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their score boards in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Check out their great products today. Don't forget to mention the podcast, sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thank you to Home Campus. You've heard me say before, home campus is a platform you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, results, rosters, communication. Their athletic clearance and eligibility platform alone is worth the price. Go to homecampus.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast to find out more information. That's homecampus.com. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. Now, athletic directors already get feedback, but typically it's from a very small group that just wants to complain. Athletic surveys will connect you to that group, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% that support your program. And having that data from parents that support your program is incredibly valuable, especially when you're meeting with that frustrated parent, or maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com.
Yeah, good to go.
Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. You hear me say every week, Wednesday Wisdom is brought to you by K12 SportsTech, one of our great sponsors. And guess who is with us? We have Abby Emerson. She is the founder and the CEO of K12 SportsTech. If you're new to the podcast, you need to go back to, I think it was June of 2023. We had Abby on as a guest. I came across her profile and was just going, wow. She's got a tremendous background in sports as a coach, as an athlete. She was an All-American at a little place called Notre Dame. She's founded her own company. She is a marketer. She's a promoter. She is a change agent in our profession. And she's an athletic director advocate. She's going to tell us more, but Abby Emerson, welcome back to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me and for all that you're doing. That was quite an intro. I really appreciate it, and I love what you're doing, Jake. And this podcast is exciting, fascinating. You always have a lot of great guests on, making an impact, and I'm really honored and continue to be honored to be a sponsor and to help support your efforts. So back at you.
Oh, well, again, we appreciate everything you do. And I want to see you this year I'm challenging you at NADC. We'll talk more about that later, but I want you to bring one of your lacrosse sticks. I want to see those ball handling skills that made you an All-American.
Yeah.
Um, for our listeners, okay, if you're new to the podcast, we don't want to just leave you in the dark, but Abby's again, she's the founder and CEO of her company. It's called K12 SportsTech, and I think it's unique in our space as athletic directors, as coaches, as leaders. So, Abby, I'm going to get out of the way. Can you give kind of some broad brushstrokes, some history? How did it get started? What is it? And then, we're going to talk about the more important why our listeners, if they're not already involved, they should get, signed up with K12 Sports Tech.
Yeah, no, happy to. So origin story, I worked in athletics tech for about 10 years, working for a company called 8 to 18, which is now part of Snap Mobile, another sponsor. And in my worked with hundreds of athletic directors and tons of sports tech vendors. And in my 10 years in the space, I just saw there's this disconnect between these two groups. So, I essentially founded K12 to bridge that gap, to help foster communication, to help drive transparency on the vendor side, to help bring athletic director voices back into innovation and service and support decisions. And that was the inception of the AD think tank, which we'll talk about on this call, which has turned into just such an exciting, wonderful program and group of administrators across the country. But really what we do is we We bring those AD think tank members onto active consulting projects with our sports tech vendor clients and partners. And they provide their input and their insight. And I know, I know a lot of your listeners know how much knowledge and experience and nuggets of insight these administrators have. And I think I always like being on the first calls with our vendor clients because they're always sort of blown away by the value that they get from these, whether it's a one-on-one call or survey project. The reality is there's just a ton of wisdom and guidance, but it's been sitting with the ADs, and it hasn't made it to these companies, and that's what we're trying to help solve for. We're trying to connect the dots.
Oh, wow, that was great. And again, for listeners, I'm no longer, in the game. I retired a couple years ago. Now I try to, let ADs share their story and kind of like Abby, I guess, help them with best practices. But for me, the think tank is just a continuation for me. But for you as a listener, I would think its most important goal or benefit for you, and it's free to sign up, totally free, is the networking that you become part of. You're going to meet athletic directors just like you that have the same, let's say, needs and desires from a vendor aspect. You're looking to buy this product, whatever it is. It could be something in technology, it could be equipment, it could be uniforms, and you're wondering, okay, what company should I go with? Because you have a lot of choices. Well, that's the other part of K12 Sports Tech. It connects it connects you with those ADs that have used that product, and they can say, hey, this is a great product, or, hey, maybe you should go to another one. Although I don't think that happens too often because Abby only has great products, but also the vendors. The vendors have an opportunity to hear directly from the athletic director about, hey, I like this aspect about your product, but this is what we really need, or this would really help us out. Can you make this tweak? And so it's really a win-win for the athletic director as well as for the vendor. Did I do that okay, Abby?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's been that was one of the intentions when we started the think tank, but it's become an incredible benefit that the ADs can in our think tank continue to talk about, which has been such an exciting, like, sort of offshoot of the think tank and of the benefits. So no, I'm glad you brought that up. The connecting with other ADs, the verifying, like, hey, this is actually a great tool. This is how I use it. Use cases is really helpful. As you and I both know, and again, your listeners, I'm sure know, every department is different. All these different personalities and policies and procedures and goals and objectives and needs. And so it can be really hard to navigate building a tech suite, which is essentially what these administrators are called to do is, okay, what technology do you need to run your department? And the answer is it completely varies based on those specific needs and the unique makeup of that department and that administrator. So yeah, just keeping your thumb on the pulse of the space of the tech space, sports tech space. This provides a really easy way to do that. We do for those calls, the one-on-one calls, it's called our AD engagement program, where we connect our vendor clients with active athletic directors in our think tank. We only put vendors in front of our think tank members if they've met certain criteria and we're aligned in terms of mission. There's a real interest in growing with customer feedback at the center of their innovation and their decision making. And for some of our legacy providers, we actually take it a step further, and we require them to do the vendor impact survey, which you mentioned. There's no way of knowing right now, how some of these programs are really working and how effective they are for departments. The Vendor Impact Initiative we created, it's a survey that measures the impact, positive impact of a technology provider's solutions across 8 different impact categories. So think things like student impact, mission, communication, service and support, innovation, and partnerships, things like that. And so you have measurable data to help inform athletic directors trying to figure out what a good long-term solution would be. It also, the fringe benefit for us is that it helps us qualify some of these vendors because we're looking directly at the feedback of users, which I think is really important. And there's not enough of that in the space where you kind of have to just take the word of people. And not, I think the best in people. I am a glass half full person. However, when your job and the growth of your department and the experience of your student athletes is part of the calculus, it's really important to make the right decisions for your department. And so best decisions, data-driven decisions. And we help sort of bring that data to the surface so they can make great choices.
Now, again, you and I have known each other for, well over a year. I've got to see the company, grow. I've referred a number of my connections to the AD think tank. I guess from both perspectives, can you share with our listeners, that you're talking now to that cranky old athletic director in Florida like me. How have you seen the platform help, let's say, a specific AD? And I know you got a ton of stories. And from the vendor perspective, what kind of feedback have you gotten from the vendors that have had a chance to connect to athletic directors and other vendors through the program?
Yeah, no, great question. And thank you for your referrals. They've been fantastic. But we've the whole think tank started with just a few athletic director contacts of mine from my years in the space, and then it's just sort of exploded from there. And we're now in over 30 states. So we have athletic directors from all of these different states. We've taken on some great new partners, and we're actually, the vendors benefit, of course, through all these insights, these connections, and the engagement from athletic directors, which is probably one of the biggest asset we have is, and I hate to call it an asset, but it's the relationships, it's the trust with these administrators that are part of our think tank. We truly are, that's part of our mission, is to be advocates for them and to make sure that what they're participating in and what our company provides is going to benefit them, short term and long run. So, I mean, one of the ways we do that is we compensate them for their time. But long term, we want this program to be really impactful, to help streamline the purchasing process, to help manage all of those tech platforms. All the, we've heard probably 50% of the calls, an AD will talk about the white whale of the one-stop shop. And what we want to be able to do is if we can't provide the one-stop shop, it is a white whale, it doesn't seem like we're going to get there anytime soon, a company that does the best of everything. We want to enable ADs to manage their technology platforms in a much easier way, to streamline their departments and streamline their tech. So that is in the works, actually, which is some exciting developments on the K12 side. Is we're actually starting to build create the roadmap for building some tech to help with that. And like everything we do, it's going to involve the input and the guidance from our think tank. because we really want it to be something that is impactful. So that'll be the first thing that the AD think tank actually helps us. The first piece of technology the think tank is actually going to help us build, which is so exciting. I never thought it would happen this quickly, but there it is. And so we're going to talk more about that at our AD Think Tank Appreciation Night, which is coming up at the NADC on Sunday, where we're going to sort of the culmination of and a way to celebrate all of the growth and excitement and progress this year, which would never ever have happened without our AD Think Tank.
Yeah, and again, I love how you talked about both ends of it, the athletic directors and the vendors, really benefiting from this platform. You mentioned NADC. It's coming up in just a couple of days, and your social event. Now, listeners, this is an invitation-only event, but we want to invite you. So how do they get invited?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It is our first in-person event, so but we're very excited. You do have to be a think tank member to get an invitation. That the deadline is actually December 2nd. However, we do, if you really want to come and you really want to join the think tank and you're, a new member and you're wanting to get engaged, just reach out to me, Abby at K12SportsTech.com, and we'll see what we can do. But in the meantime, definitely sign up for the think tank. Our process always involves a short call, 10 to 15 minutes, with Alec Brown, who's the COO of K12, and he's just awesome. Former AD educator. Has been incredible, and I'm so thankful that he joined this crazy ride about a year ago. And so it involves a call with him where he just tells you about the process, and then we get you on board and get you started. So yeah, join the think tank, and you can score an invite.
Well, I was going to ask you to give out the email, but you just did that. If they want to, check out the website, find out a little bit more, give them out that address, please.
Yeah, you can actually directly sign up if you want to skip the email, which I get. I know you get a lot of emails in your inbox, and kind of want to cut those down. So it's K12SportsTech.com/join. So you can just join right directly on that site. So K12SportsTech.com/join. There's a referred by section where you can put Educational AD Podcast or Jake or whatever. That would be great because then I can thank Jake in person and for the more referrals that have come through this podcast and through Jake. So that's probably the most straightforward way. And then you'll get an email from Alec with the rest of the details.
All right. And if you're at the NADC, you need to come by the K12 Sports Tech booth. And if you still haven't gotten that invitation, if you're really, really nice, Abby or Alec, they'll probably hook you up. But I'm definitely going to be there. Looking forward to seeing everybody, as well as you, Abby, at this year's NADC.
Yeah. Booth 843.
Hmm?
So we'll
843.
be there. Booth 843, come by. We're going to have a raffle. We'll have t-shirts for all think tank members. So regardless of when you join, if you join at the booth, we should have a t-shirt for you. So yeah. Oh, and exciting this year. We actually have think tank members that are have volunteered to help K12 and that are going to be wearing ugly sweaters, ugly holiday sweaters that are K12. They're going to have the think tank stuff in the back, helping at the booth and helping at the event. So, and we're so grateful for those administrators. So you'll see, if you see a teal and white ugly Christmas sweater, it's possible that that is a think tank member helping us out.
All right, two things. I have not received my time assignment to help out in the booth, and no one mentioned anything about an ugly sweater, but I'm
Oh,
still in. I'm still in.
okay. Yes, it is optional to wear, though strongly encouraged.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think they're ugly. That's what that's the label, but I think it's actually kind of cute. I'm gonna wear mine. So
Well, I'm sure it'll if I get to keep it, it'll come in handy when I get back to Florida, right? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
well, Abby, thanks again for coming on. All the best, in the coming days leading up to NADC, and thanks for all you do for athletic directors and leaders in our space. Really appreciate it.
Oh, well, it's my honor truly. I absolutely could not love what I do more. It is so fun. And I hope to work with more of your listeners. It's been a fun journey and it's kind of just the beginning. So we'll see.
All right. Well, thanks again. And listeners, it's Abby Emerson, K12 SportsTech.com. Sign up for the think tank. Definitely come by the booth. For listeners, we want to say thanks to you and remind you that we do this segment every single week, and K12 Sports Tech is our sponsor. Um, we also try to share stories and best practices for athletic directors just about every day. So we hope you come back for the next episode of Wednesday Wisdom and the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you all in Austin. Make sure you check out the K12 Sports Tech AD Think Tank. Shoot Abby an email, and hopefully we'll see you at their reception on Sunday night at the NADC. Before we go, we want to thank all of our great sponsors. K12 Sports Tech does sponsor Wednesday Wisdom, but we want to give a shout out to the rest of them. You've heard me say it before. These are all companies that I used as an athletic director. You should be using them too. We want to say thank you to Gipper, Huddle, Home Campus, Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards, Snap Raise, online fundraiser, Hometown Ticketing, Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, and the Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast.